Hello, welcome back to the ministry. This is Taj McCameron, and today, Lord Jesus Christ, Father God, you know I got a word for you, right? I got a word for you. And it's a topic I thought we was done with, that we was over with, that I could just move and mosey on past it because I believe that I thought I thoroughly exhausted this topic. In essence, of thoroughly exhausted. But I should have figured, because I've actually gained a level of wisdom and understanding with the way that when I release certain words, the warfare that comes up immediately after. So it should have seemingly been common sense that something like this was going to happen. So the fact of the matter that ain't been 3 days since I publicly released the word of the Lord in relation to kingdom marriages and all that stuff for this ministry, did I get dinged in the spirit that somebody was trying something. And I'm that person that's like, I know God. We done did this, we done explained this, we done exposed this, we done said this about 53,000 times. I mean, in the element of seriously. I'm so over this because I've come to a point of understanding that is a pattern. It's an actual pattern. I've watched it happen over and over again. I say something about kingdom marriage, I get a specific type of attack. Then I'm telling y'all about the fact that this dead on counterfeit done tried something again. I'm like, Lord, did they not? They don't get. It's a pattern. I pray. I wait on God. The individual attempts something on their end to extend, derail, hinder, preempt, make things take longer, just to wait out the time frame, whoever this individual is, to try to continue to keep a repetitive cycle going. Then they cause a level of confusion. Then I get tired. Then I'm over here frustrated. I ain't frustrated. I see a lot of people in this kingdom walk get frustrated because they just frustrated with the idea of having to wait on this individual. But they mismatching the direction of their angst and their anger. They're directed in the wrong direction, because what I'm noticing is people will recognize that witchcraft is being done, but then get mad at the man. If the man is being attacked by witchcraft, it ain't his fault that he hasn't gotten to you yet. There was an actual spiritual embargo being attempted to keep him away from you. I was literally just listening to one of the ministers that I listened to, and she was saying that what the enemy wants is he recognizes that if you get with that individual, that all of his plans are belly up. So he does everything in his possible capability to keep you from the person you're supposed to be associated with. Just as long as they don't come near you. Just as long as you don't go near them. They will do anything in their power to make. So pretty much, it's a level of consistent confusion that the enemy tries to bring just to delay what is inevitable. And I've come to a place that I'm just frustrated with the thing. And a lot of people, they get caught up in their frustration when they don't understand the enemy is doing witchcraft. And then on top of it, there's a level of personal responsibility that your spouse had to take. And they just learn in the process like you did. It didn't take you 5 minutes to go through your process. It took some of you years to go through your process. I have seen a lot of people complain because it took a year, 18 months, 2 years, 3 years. Hey, guess how long I've been waiting? I'm coming up on 8 years. Let me explain something to you. It takes tenacity to stand for one of these relationships, especially with what's coming against you to prevent you from walking into it. Understanding that this is the type of thing, went through a level of warfare, it's that element that makes you turn around, look at God and be like, God, I know you see this. I know you see this. I'm just over here seeking you for understanding as to why I'm still seeing this. You understand? So, let me get out of my bag with that, because I'll stay there for the rest of this video. And we got an actual review to go through. The Lord brought me back to the movie Obsessed. Lord, do you want me to tell him why I was brought back to the movie Obsessed? Okay. I had a dream the other night, which makes sense because I released the word on Friday. The dream I had was within about 24 to 36 hours later that somebody tried to cut my image out of my photograph. And I said, that seems interesting. Where have I seen that before? Oh, in the movie Obsessed. Because the individual was so obsessed with the man that she was doing anything she possibly could to disrupt their happy home. And I continued to try to ignore the fact that I saw this over the last 24 hours because of the fact that I'm trying to focus on my focus right now. I'm trying to focus on what God has me putting my hands to. I ain't trying to deal with this. Only to get further confirmation immediately after that, within 24 hours of having that dream, another YouTuber who wasn't even going to show this in their video, it was Trust and Obedience, she wasn't going to show this thing in her video. It was an image of a woman that was covered in something, and she said that it was in relation to the individual being obsessed. And I said, dagnabbit, I saw that movie name. I said, well, dang. Only to be further confirmed, I was trying to ignore it even further when I was looking at somebody else's vlog. And they were talking about your husband's going to be this type of guy and this type of guy. And I was looking and my eyes cast over a thumbnail and it actually said fairy tale. But at first glance, my eyes saw femme fatale. I said, I'll be God dang it. And you know what? The Lord had me look up the definition of femme fatale. You want me to give it now or wait until I get into the movie review? I'll just give it now. A femme fatale. A attractive, seductive woman, especially one who is likely to cause distress and disaster to a man, that becomes involved with her. Femme fatale, who plays one man off against another in pursuit of what? Money. I said, I'd be God darn it. I was so done. I said, God, Jesus be offense. Why are we here again? Because I'm looking at the Lord like, well, we've had fullness of understanding that this individual, has been here. We have fullness of understanding there's an individual that is obsessed. We have fullness of understanding, but the last I checked, the word says, touch not my anointed, do my prophets no harm. What God has put together, let no man put asunder, which only was confirmed by trust and obedience, making the point of saying, they can't break it. What the hell is they doing? It's not going to be able to be broke. All they're doing is wasting their time. But I don't know who it was. Was it Stephanie? Or it may have been Joe. I think it was Stephanie, because she may want to talk about it. These individuals, because of the fact of whoever it is that is the strong man that's pulling their puppet strings, that the spirit attached to them, demonically, meaning they've made a blood oath, they've made a whatever it is to whoever it is that is their master, their god of Baal, what have you. And they've done this. They can't stop attacking you until God does something. And I'm always sitting there like, God, I've listed out all the ways they can repent, relent, come out of alignment, come out of agreement, renounce, denounce, just come out of it. Just come out of it. Relinquish themselves from the assignment. Send them on a road to Damascus. Make them blind to what's going on and give them the fullness of understanding of what you're going to do to them if they do not stop. Stop. Only to have the word further confirmed yesterday morning. It was the night before last. I was scrolling on YouTube and I saw a video by Trust talking about Vashti gone and the spell work failed. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Only for the same video to pop up on my phone the next day and my phone froze in such a way that it was the only thing that was able to be played. I said, well, I'll be darned. And then for her to come on last night for it to be further confirmed, I said, well, dang. And I know a lot of y'all wondering, well, why are you taking so long to get to the movie review? Because it's not going to take that long. Because we're going to run through these points. If you've seen the movie, you've seen the movie. So I don't need to go through it in absolute detail. Plus, I did a previous video where I talked about it. Do not remember the name of it. That's another reason why I'm just going to go straight ahead and do this time. But I had to vent a little bit because it's like, this is getting to be pathetic on their part. On their part, it's really beginning to be pathetic. Seriously. because I keep seeing the numbers 932 and 933. 932 in the Bible is when Jezebel was knocked off that daggone building by her own people. They threw her out the window. And then she was trampled to death. So there is only one way that this is going to end if this child don't turn around her ways. And I be sitting there trying to pray mercy for this individual. Honestly. Honestly. I keep saying the same thing. I keep saying the same thing. Over and over again. And I'm just like, Jesus, be offense. Because I know that me and my spouse are covered by the Zechariah 2 and 5 that states that there is a wall of fire, a hedge of protection around all about us. So all this individual is doing is delaying the inevitable. But to get off this high horse, because I sit here and talk about this because I'm just venting at this point. Let's get to the movie. So, the movie begins, as we all know, it's a drive up as they do the opening credits of them getting ready to go into the house that is their brand new home. Let me let you know right now, the house is ready. If I could tell you how many times I've been getting confirmation, the house is ready, 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 house is ready. The place that you're supposed to be dwelling in is already ready. And your spouse is ready to take you there. Over and over confirmation. Over and over and over. Secondarily, they move into the house. Everything is good. It's empty. They're trying to unpack everything. They have an intimate moment. If you know the movie, you know what happened. Then he goes off to work. He's in a good mood. And he's comes into contact with the new temp. He don't think nothing of her. Let's bring it to the first point. A femme fatale. She comes in with an essence of innocence. Air godliness, no God in him. This individual more than likely came to the spouse, this may be your spouse, this may be whatever situation, that they came off like an innocent. And if you pay attention to the way that she did it, it was almost as if she purposely dropped the folders. These individuals study the character of the man in which they're interested in coming into contact with. Now, understand this about a soul tie, okay? That a person can create a soul tie by looking you in your eyes. I talked about this when I talked about charisma before. That I have come into contact with individuals where they were verbally speaking and using charisma with words, but they will also try to look you in your eyes. A warlock or a witch will try to look you directly in the eye to create a soul tie. That you don't have to have sex with them. You just got to look them in the eye. Okay? Secondarily, they will try to physically come into contact. They got to touch your skin. So, them trying to put the papers back together. Contact. A person that is operating in witchcraft, whether it be that the individual or maybe they are working in partner tandem with a voodoo priestess, priest, somebody doing the opium man, I don't know. Whoever this individual is. They'll tell them they got to get in contact with them. They got to rub something on them. They got to touch them in some type of way in order to get that contact. So that whatever it is that they're trying to do is initiated. Okay? Secondarily, he ignores it. the temp would switch to a desk over there. He ain't really paying attention to her because she knew, and he just plays a game with her because he knows that she's a new temp. Secondarily, these men, they kind. Some of them, they got that flirtatious temperament about them that they will just try to make a person feel good about themselves. So they do that. Some of your men probably didn't have done that to individuals, just try to make them feel good. It don't mean that they ready to marry the daggone woman. They just trying to make them feel good. It's part of who they are. They just have that jovial, temperament about them. They're pleasant. It comes with the territory of the individual themselves. But what ends up happening is because this individual has targeted this man, she switches desks. And I'm going to tell you something. If you pay attention to the film, she says, "Oh, Jen got the stomach bug and I took her desk." The last time she had the desk in that office was only within a day or so prior to that. It would not surprise me that this woman did not target that woman with something to poison her so she could get that woman's desk. Tell me I'm lying if you think that I'm lying in that film. So that it could switch and she would have his desk. Some of these women have purposely targeted your spouse to the degree that they have positioned themselves that they were going to get in that spot. They manipulated situations and scenarios right up until the point to get into that spot, to have access to your man. And would not hear no for the answer. Then she gets into his office and he's sitting there trying to explain to her, well, this is how I operate. And she's sitting there like, oh, you send your wife flowers on this day and you do this and you do this and you do this. And he's like, is there anything that you don't do? She's like, I just waiting on you, bro. She knows him down to a T. Some of these women operate under such a level of a monitoring spirit that she gathered everything about your spouse. What they like, what they don't like, where they like to hang out, ask questions to the right people associated, rub shoulders with the right individuals in order to just gain access to information so that they could gain knowledge as to where your man hang out at, how they operate, what they do. When they go hang out there, what they drink when they drinking, what they do when they do what they do, how they operate. What's that? So I can come up. I'm going to tell you this. I used to know an individual. And I lived in their environment for a minute. This person had a bad habit. But the only way that this individual, that there was a particular male in this female's life, that whenever he wanted access to her, all he had to do was bring her what she wanted. Whatever her proclivity was, he just brought that to her. Some of these women knew your spouse's proclivity. Maybe they liked a little bit of liquor after they ate. Maybe when they went up to the bar, they knew exactly what this individual liked because they studied this man to every degree. They watched them because they needed an in to gain access. And then they started talking to them. Then they understood, well, this person doesn't hang out with everybody. Let me start talking to them. Let me start using charm, using charisma to get this individual to start talking to me. But these men were guarded maybe to a degree because that's the way this man was. Because he's married. He married. Some of your spouses, they knew about you and they were preparing for you, and this individual came in. And to a degree, what they did is they tried to appear like you so that, remember in the movie, what's his name? The Mermaid, the woman, Ursula, she created a counterfeit version of Ariel that looked identical to her, just with brown hair. And because she had stolen her voice, she could approach that man with her voice. Some of these women were attempting to mimic your personality, your characteristics, everything about you, because they wanted this man for them. That's what a destiny transfer is, when they try to mimic everything that you do, verbally, to whatever capacity. Don't got much time on this video, so I'm not going to sit here and go through all of that. But what ends up happening is that he goes home, he tells his wife about the new temp. The wife is like, oh, okay. Some of you knew, because the Lord put you up on the fact that this individual was in the vicinity of your man. At first she was like, now Lord, I know you ain't gonna lie nothing. You got him. Well, who this woman? This is why the wife, Sharon, went into the office and was like, honey, she pretty, but she ain't pretty plain. I need you to get rid of her. Quick. Those of us that have been a wife waiting on this man have seen these individuals, whether it was spiritually had fullness of understanding that this woman was there, or the Lord gave us inklings that there's something there, there's a blockade, there's a delay, there's somebody in there trying to hinder. And we like, bro, take it out. What we doing here? We went into prayer. We was like, God, that needs to be removed. Just like the wife went in there and said, honey, I'm going to need you to get rid of her. Remember, nobody runs your desk. And we don't never have no female assistants. And he's like, it's all right, babe. I got it. Now, as we know how the movie played out, this woman goes to the Christmas party, tries to seduce him into drinking some alcohol so that she can get him on the pretense of him drinking. Some of these women use the proclivity that was already a thing for your spouse. And some of your spouses even have told these individuals, no, I'm not interested in drinking. No, I'm just like, come on. I mean, we having fun. How can you not? I mean, we at the party. We at the bar. How can you not drink with me? Come on, drink with me. Remember, go back and look at I Think I Love My Life. Because they knew that if they can get them to get a little bit tipsy, they might be able to use that, one, as an excuse as to getting them, and two, that they would be out of what? Sober-mindedness and vigilant. And then when it didn't work, what she do? When they got to the Christmas party, what she do? She started rubbing all up on him in the bathroom stall. And he's trying to stop her. Some of your spouses, these women came up on them and darn near assaulted them. I'm being 100% legit. But the way that they put them into the predicament, it put them in a state that that woman could blackmail them. Because remember, the two guys came into the bathroom and they was snickering because they thought that something was going on in the bathroom. And then they came out the bathroom and he's uncomfortable, but his friend saw this and the assistant saw this. So it looked bad. Remember, I've been telling y'all about the illusion, right? That the enemy, when he cannot trap you in something, he makes it look like you did it. Wasn't nobody in that bathroom stall. Nobody knew what she was doing to him and how uncomfortable he was. Some of your spouses were cornered up in situations where it looked very bad for this man, and it looked like either he was getting caught up in his old ways and God's trying to tell them, nah, he's straight laced now. He's not going in that direction. But these women that still operate under that spirit are sitting up there like, oh, I'm going to rub up on him and I'm going to do what I want to do because he's still like that. And it's like, he's like, no, I'm not. I am not like that anymore. I'm walking with God fully now. But what does the enemy do? He's an accuser of the brethren. So he's got to set you up. Did I not just say this in the word of the year? So he tried to set him up to make it look like. Now, how many times did this man try to how many times did this woman try to set this man up? Then came the New Year's party. The wife went with him on the New Year's party. Some of y'all have had the opportunity to go out with your spouse or what have you, and some God has just kept you completely out of the situation until this blew over. But this woman starts sending him photos all of a sudden, bombarded him with a spam. Some of these individuals have had access. Maybe they were secretarial. Some of them may have even had a level of connection to the individual that, due to the fact that the man thought that they were a good asset to them, the man allowed them to have access to personal and or business filing. I never forget that there was a YouTuber recently that she fired somebody that worked for her, and the person became disgruntled and had her entire channel deleted. If you ever, her name is Melissa Romero, and if you watch her video of how distressed it was for her to get her YouTube channel back, due to the fact that this person was disgruntled and they had access to everything. Some of your spouses, this individual had access. Think about it. The secretary has access to everything business-wise that your spouse would have. Some of them, because of the fact that they were involved, they pried to gain access to this. I was watching a documentary about certain industries and the fact that there will be people from higher up that will send women like this to coax and or what's the word? Not really so much an escort, but to finagle their way into these men's lives so that the higher ups have a thumb on this individual. Okay? So what ends up happening is this woman is rubbing all up on this man, and she done gets in the car with him, and he keeps rejecting her. Some of your spouses actually rejected the come-ons that these individuals were when they started to realize, hey, this person ain't all the way there. No! I'm preparing for what God's given me. I ain't got time for this. No. And these women would not relent. Either they weren't relenting visually or they weren't relenting in the background. So, as we know, the second time she showed up, she got into his vehicle in a trench coat wearing some lingerie, and he said, "Get the hell out of my car." Some of these women would not take no for an answer. And I've been getting that vibe for a long time, that these individuals have not been trying to take no for an answer and have been using every tactic tactic in the damn book. Sorry to say it like that, but I'm frustrated with this situation. To keep this man held and pinned down to them. And because the man is afraid, false evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real is false evidence appearing real of loss, false evidence appearing real of failure, and false evidence appearing real of death. These females wanted to make sure that they lost everything. Remember, a femme fatale wants to bring disaster and destruction to these individuals. Remember that. Because it's about money. They want access to that bank that man got. And they're like, they will do anything to gain access to it. And you sitting up there like, could you please move? Before God has to move you. In the meantime, the husband comes home and the wife's pissed off. Some of y'all have been that moment where the wife is pissed off. Because a lot of you have gotten to that phase. And tell the truth, shame the devil, we raise your hand. That you got to the phase where what the enemy's been doing is it's been sending the idea. Maybe they sent you a vision. Maybe it was something that was placed in front of your face that gave you something to make you see something that made you pissed off. And the husband's like, I want to come to you and tell you what's going on. But you pissed off because you've seen in the spirit what the enemy is trying to do, but they've twisted it to make it look some type of way, and you're angry now. You're ready to go off on this man, and the man is sitting there like, I want to tell you what's going on, but I can't tell you because I'm scared of you now, because look at how mad you are. And we mad. We mad that this individual is doing all this to you. But we want truth. Don't run from us. Don't run from us. We want the truth of the matter. Okay? Now, she was like, babe, what you want? I know this thing is going on with my sister. I'm mad. Yeah, but what's going on with you? Now, he should have been a grown old man and told her what was going on. Because what was going on with the sister ain't had nothing to do with him. But if he understands the way she think, hey, you have been spiritually trying to decipher what the Lord's been sending you confirmations and senses of, that something ain't right over there. And that's why you were mad. It wasn't the fact that you didn't want him to come to you. You wanted him to come to you. But he was afraid that if he came to you, one, that this woman gonna act like a damn fool. Or two, that you was gonna act a damn fool. So I'm going to come back in the next part because I'm running out of space on this video. We're going to come right back. Welcome back to part 2 of the Obsessed Review. So, the husband is in a state where he's like, I don't know what to do. So he says, I'm going to go and I'm going to tell my boss. His boss tells him she quit. She left. For some of you God-ordained spouses, the environment they were in, this person was attached to. I don't know whether it was a part secretarial situation. I don't know whether it was a part of an actual scenario where they worked in their environment. It could have just been potentially they worked in the scene that they worked in. I mean, it didn't have to be particularly the office. It could have been wherever that career field congregated, meaning they might not see him in the office, but they're going to see him at the parties. They're going to see him at the bar. They're going to see them at the this. They're going to see them at the this. One of these places, they're going to run into them. And it was inevitable. So due to that factor, they were scared. They were scared. Because there was a potential they could run into him in any of these places. Now, the individual backs up. How many times have you seen me do a video where I talked about the fact that, okay, We already addressed this, seemingly calmed down. We got away from the content about counterfeits, and then all of a sudden it came back because this individual was coming back around. Whether it was the same individual or individual with the same spirit on them. Understanding this? In some of the cases, it was an individual with a similar spirit, because your spouse would be cautious of letting the same person in. But if it was a different person with the same spirit, they'd have to come to the recognition, hold up, this person got the same spirit on them as the last individual. Let me back up. And every time they back up, every time, I'm going to admit this and say this all the time, every time a narcissist gets caught, the fact that they recognize that you recognize them, oh baby, they're going to attack you. Oh wait, I can't play you because you recognized me? Oh, now I'm going to attack you. Every time. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying. Because they got to blackmail their way in, because now that's not going to work. Which brings me to the next point. You seen that commercial come on TV where they talking about it's the young people that are doing the "This Is Not Love" commercial, where they start talking about the factor of, I know you love me, but if you love me, can you not allow this person to call you no more? If you love me, can you not? If you love me, stop hanging out with them. If you love me, you'll let me put this app on your phone that I can track everywhere you're going. If you love me. And you know something funny I've been seeing happen on my phone lately? I've been getting applications talking about, if you want to track what your partner is doing, install this app on their phone. I said, mother in hell. What? I don't know this for certain, but I'm really assuming that this individual, whoever this woman was that was involved with who I called the man, that's what they were doing. Why? Because they knew, if you got to do this damn much to keep a man, because you're desperately afraid that they're going to get to the person that they're supposed to be with, there's something wrong with you. I'm just putting it out there. You shouldn't hang out with these people anymore, because they're talking about you in a way that shows that can make an individual think, maybe this person is right for me. That's why narcissists have a tendency to try to isolate you away from people, because when you start talking to people, they start to speak to you. Now, I'm going to give a caveat here. Sometimes it's not so much that it's a narcissisticness. Sometimes it's a form of protection, because once you have the understanding spiritually of how people can operate and how spirits jump from person to person, if a person's telling you maybe you should avoid dealing with these people even though you've known them your entire life, it's because it may potentially be something wrong with that individual, but due to the fact that you're transitioning out of being a worldly individual and becoming a godly individual, you don't recognize the spirits on these individuals, and then God has to give you wisdom and knowledge to show you that. And then that what ends up happening, the narcissistic spirit in these individuals has to get bucked up and yet again attack. And then these people your spouses are sitting there wondering, why is everybody attacking me all of a sudden? It's a spirit in them. They recognize a God in you. This is why I don't associate with people that much. Because of the fact that my spirit irks other people's spirits. Anyway, moving forward. So, time passes. For some of your spouses, they separated themselves from these people. They were free. I am free from this individual. I'm getting ready to move towards the direction and the relationship God wants for me. I'm getting back in the Word. I'm doing all of these things. I'm getting tight with God. I'm being prepared. I'm getting instructions from the Lord. And here comes this person again. She shows up at a resort conference. come talking for foolery about, I know you couldn't get involved with me. I couldn't work there anymore, so I quit. For some of these women, they position themselves to gain re-entry into what I told you about re-entry. And it's so interesting. So we just did a video talking about re-entry. See, I know that the reason a lot of people attacked that woman is because she revealing secrets. Because if you're revealing secrets, the enemy's going to want to make sure people don't look at you. I got to make noise around this individual to keep people from listening to them. I have done 4 videos talking about when you see somebody on the opposite side of the glass, don't let them in. Do not let them in. And she was talking about a knock on the door. Now I'm sitting there like, okay. These people were trying to find re-entry. Maybe they were talking to your best friend. Maybe they were talking to a family member that is close, not extremely closely associated, but they know that you have contact with this person. So they need contact of that person to get contact with you, to track your movements. And this was what was happening to your spouse. So if they couldn't get access to him, they're going to go talk to their next closest guy friend that either knew of them when they were out there doing all this or what have you, to gain access, wisdom, and understanding. When they're ready to move back in, they know which person to tap on to gain wisdom, because that's the guy that's going to be able to get in and talk to your man, so that they can gather information from them as a second, third party, what have you, to this situation, so they can gain access and re-entry. And they knew they needed to do something drastic. Now, I'm hoping that this woman didn't try to do anything like try to make it appear either like your man hit, hurt, abused, tried to kill him, or they attempted to make it look like they committed suicide on themselves because of this man. Because that's how crazy these women are. Remember, they femme fatales, right? So they got to completely bring disaster to this individual, right? They got to make everything look bad, even to a point that they take them to a court about it. Because they got to make it look horrible. Like this man is the worst. And due to the fact of certain habitual habits, they use their habits by twisting their own habits against them to make it look like, well, he was doing that kind of activity anyway. It's not that far of a reach to assume that he would have. And your man ain't do none of that. And he's sitting up there like, I didn't do this. I didn't do this. And he's feeling like he got to pull his hair out his head because he didn't do it. He ain't getting no sympathy from anybody because they looking at him sideways. It's like, did you do it? Or did you do it? I don't know if you did it or not. And the fact is like, oh my God, y'all actually believe I did this? And then here comes you. Because remember, when she tried to commit suicide, the wife called one of his friends and said, he's not answering his phone. He was supposed to call his son back. He did not call his son back. Where is he? Oh, you didn't hear about it? He's at the hospital with. So here you come. Some of you have gotten spiritual wisdom that this man has been trying to detach himself from this chick. But the way you gained wisdom of it, maybe the Lord showed you a TV report or something, and you went in the spirit and you're like, God, if this man is doing that, I know I did it. he out here acting all kinds of left when we've been standing here praying for him, God, do what you gotta do. Because the fact of the matter is, your spouse don't want you to start praying for the judgment of their actions. They need you to pray to save them. But when you start praying for them to receive the judgment on the actions that that's, because when you get frustrated, that's what starts happening. You start praying the judgment to the action that you've seen them commit. What did the wife do? She came in and she's like, what's going on? Cop comes up and says, oh, she put your number in as the contact. Cop she don't know what in the world is going on between you, the wife, and this woman. And then she trying to explain to him, and he trying to find out, but this is why. Let me explain it. Pause. This is why the Lord did not bring you in to the actual situation. Look at what the wife did. The cop is trying to explain to him what actually happened. Your spouse is getting certain information from an authority figure as to what's going on. But some of you, if you were there and you were seeing what was going on, you'd have gone in the spirit and been like, excuse me, move over for a second while I start tearing down walls. And God's like, I need you to stay your little behind over here, because you're going to start screaming and hollering and getting in between something I'm trying to do between this situation. What did the wife do? She said, I bet you did what? I'm just finding she was naked in your bed. Some of y'all would have been there. Excuse me? She did what? I know you did. She was where? You either gonna go in the prayer closet and start ripping this woman a new hole in her areas. And if he wasn't careful, you was gonna start ripping it in him too. And God's like, I don't need you to do that. He don't need that right now. He don't need that right now. He got a lot going on right now, if you haven't noticed. So I'm gonna need you to stay your little pretty behind over here and just pray from what you have wisdom of. I'm gonna tell you what to pray, you pray over there. Secondarily. What are we thirdly? They go home. What does she do? The wife kirks out on him. Some of these men have not approached you because they wanted to, but they were afraid that she was going to kirk out on them. Like, she went off all the way. But you not going off because of the fact that you're going off. You just wanted the truth of the scenario. You wanted the truth because you wanted to be able to better pray for them. Let's just be honest. That's what we wanted, right? We wanted to be able to better pray for them to make sure that this situation turned out with the least amount of hurt on their side. You understand? And we were angry. Because what was she yelling about? I have never. All I ever wanted from you was for you to tell me the truth. That is all we want, the truth. We want the truth of the situation. Last night, my throat got tight. And I remember listening to a couple of the individuals that I listened to, and they were talking about the fact that a lot of these men really want to talk to us really badly about what's truly been going on. And I was reminded, you know that throat tightness you get before you start crying? Where your throat gets tight and you want to speak, but you know that if you say anything, you'll just burst into tears. You know that? That's what I've been feeling. Some of these men are at that point. They want to talk. But some of them, they might not even be able to speak when they first get to you, because it's like they so badly wanted to speak this out that the first thing that may come out is tears. Let them cry. Let them cry it out when they come, because they need to get that out, because they're finally able to speak to you. Because what has been trapping their voice from being able to speak on this thing? Now, I did not agree with the fact that she kicked him out of the house. Now, I'm thinking as from a prayer warrior perspective, the last thing she needed to do was kick him out. Maybe she needed to move him to another part of the house. I don't want to deal with you right now. I don't need to see you right now. Go somewhere. Go to the other side of the house. We're going to, and I'm good at that. Oh, honey, if I don't want to see you, I ain't going to see you. We be living in the same space. If the house is big enough, you will be wondering, is she here? I'm legit. If I don't want to be interactive with, if I put you out the bed, you will not see me. Because I will go from bedroom to office to bedroom to, I'll wait until you're not in the house to cook. You'll know that I was there because the food will be there. That's about the only thing. I get ghost on folks. I have lived with people and the house was big enough that they had to come knock on my door and say, I ain't seen you in 3 days. Exactly, because I only operated when y'all wasn't there. That's just how I operate. I know how to operate when I'm trying. So she shouldn't have put him out, I don't believe. Because for one, from a spiritual perspective, putting that man out only gives the person that wanted access to him more access. Because he's not secure out there. He's not safe out there because that woman now has, he ain't in his home. He ain't in his safe, secure place. He ain't in his sanctuary. He ain't in his, you understand what I'm saying? So she should let him stay in the house, even if she was pissed. And let him stay in another part of the house. Because that house was big. But you know, she did that because she didn't want him moping around the house trying to talk to her, and she was giving him the silent treatment. She wanted the ability to freely walk around the house and operate as she needed to, which made for a cute reconciliation period. Some of y'all, anybody here that's waiting on the reconciliation of your marriage, are in the reconciliation stage, where some of you may have had interactions with your spouse, but you knew that there was somebody still there, but you've been trying to gain reconciliation, communicating back and forth, so on and so forth. He coming to the house, trying to, it's like, I want to take you out, I want to, you know how he did. And she was like, I'm going to keep, like, could you move your foot? Honey, move your foot. And then they smirking at each other and so on and so forth. Y'all like to chase. You know that this is your man and God done said that they supposed to be with you. But every time y'all got close to each other, what the enemy do? Here comes the counterfeit. Here comes some more witchcraft coming against them. Here comes another thing. Here comes another thing. So for I don't know how many months they were separated. And as he starts to come back, because she ended up going with him to his birthday party or birthday dinner. Here come this chick. She done snuck all the way in the house, came through the babysitter. Came to the child. Some of y'all, your child is the ministry that you and your spouse are supposed to birth together. Whatever it is that you and your spouse are supposed to put your hands to, that is going to be the child that is going to be birthed between the two of you. Oops. Sorry. That is the child. And you are birthing that thing. But the enemy wants to get his hands on it. This woman took the child, put the child in the vehicle. Catch this. Your ministry is a vehicle. So It's funny. Your enemies will help you get to your progression because they will move you forward in and towards what it is you're called to do. Whether they tear up things that shouldn't have been there or they put things in a level of sequence that will cause you to be in order for where you're supposed. She took the child and put it in the car. A child is a ministry. A ministry is a vehicle. Okay? Now, they go and have the child checked out because they don't know whether this woman done poisoned the child or what. But it's when they come back, they see the photograph that she done cut the wife out the picture. These women been trying to cut you out the picture the whole damn time. Because they see, oh, you legit. You want this man for him, not for his money. Which means he going to implore and love you. For real, for real. I gotta cut you out this picture. I gotta do a destiny transfer. I gotta do a love spell on this man. I gotta make sure he rejects you. Because if he ever comes into agreement with you, I'm through. And they know that it's going to happen. They done tried to tie knot spells. They done tried to do cutting spells. They done tried to do all this type of stuff. And it's like, trying to put out a fire of the Lord with water is not going to go out. Because what God put together, that no man put asunder. It was like when the prophets of Baal sat up there and tried to catch the wood on fire using what they did, and it never worked. And all Elisha did was pour water and then said, God, set it on fire. Boom. How the heck, listen to me here. The scripture says, God is the master that made the weapon. If you're using tools, fire, candles, ropes, blood, because he created your blood too. He created goats. He created animals. He created all of these types of things. You're trying to use all of these types of things in order to break up. You even try and go to the grave. He created the dirt in a damn graveyard. So how you think you gonna come against a child of God with the creations of the things that God created? You better pluck it up, because if you do not, what is the next? The weapon may form, but guess what? What does it say next? It ain't gonna prosper. It's not gonna prosper. And the tongue, meaning every verbal slander, word curse, blackmail, verbal extortion, all kinds of foolery that this daggone individual use, God condemns every tongue. That tongue gonna be condemned for whatever the hell you said, whatever the hell you did, whatever spell work you tried to speak out your damn mouth in order to come against what God was bringing together. Incantations, rings, photographs, scissors, ropes. I don't give a damn what it was. And any voodoo, hoodoo, opium man, voodoo priestess worth half his weight in gold will see that the individual that they were trying to, meaning you and that man, are operating under God. And if the word is correct, and I know that it is, you cannot curse what God has blessed. They just taking that individual's money just for the hell of taking it, because they know that they can't curse God's child. So what happens next? They get a security system and install a security system on the house. And I'm gonna share a dream with you that the Lord showed me. The Lord showed me in a dream that there was a security system on a house, and the windows and doors were shut, but for some reason kept trying to be, there was somebody on the opposite side of the door and the window, they kept trying to open and close the door, and I kept closing it. The alarm kept going off and I kept closing it. I kept closing it. It wasn't even getting cracked open but that far, and I kept closing it. That is what you are in the spirit realm. Second, you recognize I'm that person. I see an attack about 15 miles away and I say, hold up, what you doing? And I start praying into everything associated with that entire streamline of what I even inklinged was an issue. I'm like, I just even sense this. Let me pray into all of the things associated with that off the rip, because I ain't got time for this. And usually 9 times out of 10, it cuts it off immediately. You are a supernatural security system because you are spiritually in the spirit praying and operating as security. And because of the fact that Zechariah 2:5 exists, meaning there's a wall of fire around all about you and this man, can't nobody touch you. What God has put together, let no man put asunder. What door God has opened cannot be shut. It don't matter. And then here come this woman again in the end of the film. She waits. She calls the assistant, finds out that they're going to the family member's house for the anniversary. And here comes the wife done forgot, because she forgot when she went back in the house to reset the alarm system. 9 times out of 10, we don't forget to reset the alarm system. We spiritually on our guard. But let me tell you how the enemy has been trying to get you to forget to reset your alarm system. You listening? This is how he's been trying to get you to forget. He tried to get you mad at that man. And then you no longer want to pray. Then you no longer want to act on this man's behalf. Then you no longer want to do anything for this man because it's taking too long. He ain't here yet. Lord, you done said this too many daggone times. I know you a man that you ain't a liar, but this is ridiculous. I'm over this. I'm going to stop praying for him. Oh, you forgot to turn the alarm system back on? You forgot to pray for that man? I'm not going to fast for him another 3 days. He ain't. And that was the 3 days you needed to fast for him because he was about to get attacked. I'm not doing this no more. This person said that I have the right to replacement. I'm going to go get me a replacement. I made this example in something you haven't seen yet. It's coming. Some of your spouses, it's like you knocked on the door to this individual's place and it looks clean and empty and tidy, but your spouse is locked in a closet, tied up with a noose or something around his mouth. And he can't speak, can't talk, but he's in that closet, beating the floor, trying to shake himself loose from all of the bondages that this individual has tried to spiritually tie him up with. And you sitting there like, well, everything looks okay over here, because that's what the enemy is trying to make you think. Oh, he over here enjoying himself. He's over here, but privately he's screaming, please don't leave me here. And you sitting there like, well, he enjoying himself. Bump this. He over there enjoying himself. I'm going to go enjoy myself. I'm going to go get me a replacement. You left the alarm system off. I don't care how uncomfortable I get. That's usually the time I need to pray more. I need to fast more. I need to consecrate more. Because that's when the attack's coming to him. And I've seen it happen to other family members. I was like, oh, that's why you had me consecrate that day. Because this was about to go down. That's why I had to stand in the gap, because this was about to happen. Be this supernatural security system. So she drives off and she ends up getting a phone call from her husband. The husband says, "Hey, did you put the alarm system back on after you left the house?" She's like, "Dang, never, I forgot." Some of your spouses will give you the wisdom. The father will give you wisdom. You need to go and could you go lock that back up again? Can you get yourself together? Can you get off your high horse? Can you get off your soapbox and go pray for this man? Because you need to put the security system back on, because somebody is breaking in the back door. What'd she do? She broke in the back door. So she comes in to put the security system back on, and she hears the bottle pop of the champagne and the woman pouring the champagne upstairs. And she's like, "Now, I know this one." Some of us, this is where we at. "I know this twit ain't do another spell. I know this woman ain't in this. I know she ain't do this. I know she ain't. Because if I come up these stairs and see this woman, it's on." And we in the spirit, like, if I gotta come into the spirit realm one more time and whoop this spiritual areas one more time. It's like, because what she say when she was leaving the hospital? She said, "One of y'all better deal with this woman, because I don't want to have to be the one to have to deal with her. So somebody better deal with this woman. I'm that person. God, I'm put you." So when it comes to this this is the last part, the final part of this. You got to put God in remembrance. Because you put God in remembrance, look. How many times have I put this person on the altar before you? How many times have I reminded you? How many times have I asked you, Lord, to put this person on the road to Damascus so that they can see the error of their ways and leave me the hell alone? Because I'm out here trying to cover this man with the blood of Jesus Christ so that you do not have the ability to rip this man's heart to shreds. And it's that element, you're like, God, why you allowing this to go on like this? And it's that element that you're like, is this going to actually come to a point where you're going to come face to face with this individual? Now, what I've recognized in a lot of these situations is the way that God does it is he will deal with the situation, but he's going to let you see who it was that you were coming up against. Meaning, I need you to show up so that you can see. The people that have always ever attacked me, they never physically attacked me. What they did was the Lord put them into my eye gate, meaning I was able to physically see the individual before me that I was coming up against. And then the Lord removed them, because the Lord allowed me to see, oh, this is the person that's been talking smack about you. This is the person that has been coming against you. This is the individual. I'm not going to let them put their hands on you. Let me explain something to you. I remember I was in a situation a few years back. I was early part in my journey of homelessness. And it was like one of my last nights before I left the location I was in. And this individual came up and they were doing wrong. And I addressed the wrong. It was me and a roommate of mine. And this person came up. And I knew that the only reason that this individual gained access, because the actual security guard, I'm thinking this is an authority figure that they're going to protect me. And not only that, I'm telling them out of kindness, of understanding. This is the rule and regulation of this facility. This woman follows me into my room. And my roommate's sitting there, the same one that I was talking to. And she was trying to figure out which one of the two of us it was that had said what I said. I didn't say nothing. I'm standing there trying to do my hair, retwist my hair up like this. And this woman starts going back and forth, walking back and forth, talking all this talk. Like she about to, I'm going to beat the bricks off of you and I'm a da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm sitting up there like, I never stopped doing my hair. Because I'm sitting there in my mind like, God is not going to allow this woman. She never came across the threshold of the cubby area that I was standing at. She never did. But she made all of this noise. I'm going to do this. Blah, 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 blah. When she went to jump me, let me explain something. There was two girls that had come to the door to watch, to see what this girl was going to do. When she went to do that, these girls snatched her from the door and pulled her out in the hallway. And as soon as that happened, I sat down on that bed and I started praying. And when I tell you, before the night was out, this chick was gone. Sometimes the Lord will allow you to see the individual for who they are and who's been coming up against you. It was another situation. It was an individual that came against me in these social media streets. And they were talking the same foolery. Well, if I came into contact with you and you and I were in a room together and this, that, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I kindly didn't say not one word to her. Came back home, sat down in my prayer posture, and took her to the Lord. She was gone by the next time I went on to social media. God gonna fight your battles, but sometimes he allows you to see who's been bucking up against you. All this time. The way Tiffany Montgomery puts it is, you got to show up to the fight. God gonna fight it for you, but he needed you to see who it was. He needed you. All talk, no action. He needed you to see that this individual. Because in every scenario, just before a major breakthrough, sometimes the enemy will show up to get you to back up. He needs you to back up. Back up. Because if the Lord allowed that person to get close to you like that, you're not going to allow any harm to come to you. He's not going to allow this person to hurt, harm, or put you in danger. He's not going to allow you or your spouse to be. You covered in the blood of Jesus Christ. You are protected. The only way that it will be a legal authorization for this person to hurt you is if you take the bait and cross that threshold. That night when that individual was backing up and going back and forth, if I had come out of the cubby hole, who knows what that woman would have did to me. But I stayed where I was and I never stepped outside of the parameter of where I was standing. You need to stand, because this person can't do nothing as long as you're in and within the parameters God has put. Some of you have been wondering. I've been seeing messages over and over and over and over again stating this. Talking about the fact that you need to stay put. Don't leave where you are. You need to stay there. Don't leave yet. You're not supposed to leave yet. I know you're wondering why you're still there, but you're not supposed to leave yet. Blah, 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 blah. Don't leave yet. You're not supposed. And you've been wondering, God, you've been telling me that it's time to go, and then you're talking about don't leave yet. What are you doing? Because God has you in a protective circle. If you cross outside of that boundary that he has told you, don't leave yet. then you are actually outside of the protective covering of the Lord. And this individual is desperately desiring to kick your ass and or potentially kill you or your spouse. They have legal right now because you stepped outside of the perimeter that God told you to stay within. But as long as you're within that parameter, you are surrounded by the ring of fire around all about you. But you step outside of that, and that's what the enemy always tries to get you to do, because he bucks up against you in hopes that you cross that line, that you'll get frustrated and say, I'm tired of this, and jump out. Don't do it. Remember, this fight took place in the house. This was her home. Now, had they been out on the street some daggone where, and she beat, because what is the legal parameter? If somebody is in your home and they come against you as if to hurt or harm you, you have the legal right to kill them. But if you're outside on your front porch, on the street, you done ran down the street legally, whatever happened after that, you can be held legally responsible for. You see how that works? As long as you're within God's parameter, the temple, the house of God, God's house, God's covering, under his shield, she was able to whip her whole behind in that house. She didn't come outside until after the fight was over. God got you under his covering, under his house, under his shield, under everything. You come outside of that, she might not have been able to get away with that fight. Had it been, and even yet, and still, some of us would still be praying mercy over this individual. Remember, she tried to help pull her up when the woman was falling over the thing, and she was trying to pull her down. That's like, oh, you crazy. You crazy. We over here sitting up and praying mercy over these individuals because we don't want them to die. And they're like, I'll kill you if I get a chance. Give me your hand. I'll kill you if I get a chance. And then Jezebel had a great fall. And then she went out and she went to her husband. Sometimes the Lord allows it to get so bad, and then finally, after the confrontation, after the dust settles, guess what? She got to hug her husband, and the cop came, and she was like, oh, I didn't understand. It's like, yeah, she in there. Me and God dealt with this. You and God dealt with this. Some of y'all be trying to go to the wrong authority. Tiffany Montgomery said this in one of her broadcasts where she was talking about y'all was going to the wrong authority for this. You needed to go to the Lord. If the Lord knew and understood, then he was going to deal with the issue. So that is that review. Some of your spouses have been dealing with an individual that was psychotically deranged. And I've been trying to avoid admitting the fact that I recognize that the Lord's been beating over top of my head that this individual is this person crazy. She cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. She nuts. Some of y'all been wondering, well, I'm looking at him and he look like he all right. And it's like, this man got somebody holding him spiritually hostage. It's like, I will come to you, but you don't understand this person has a knife to my back. I can't walk over there just yet. Because if I came to you, they're either going to kill me or they're going to kill you. But what God has protected, what the enemy is doing and has been doing to these men is creating false evidence that appeared real. Because they could physically see the evidence, these men were operating in a level of anxiety and fear that the physical evidence did not it was outweighing the spiritual understanding, because they were seeing physically, because men see this way. They don't understand the spiritual aspect of, like Elijah opening the eyes for them to see that they have more for them than are against them, and will protect them in the midst of confusion. But remember, this is a femme fatale. But what usually happens to the femme fatale in a lot of the cases? They end up dead, because it ends up becoming fatal for them, not for the people that are actually they were attacking. It becomes fatal for them. Every femme fatale movie, I don't name every single one of them. When did you ever see the woman survive, except maybe in a few of them? And when they do survive, they end up in a crazy house somewhere, falling in love with the daggone nursemaid that is the next male figure that comes in front of their face. Because what did I say about the femme fatale? Come back to the femme fatale. A femme fatale will play one man off of another in pursuit of money. Whoever they can get their hands on. Even if that's the nursemaid at the crazy house that they operating in. It's sad, bro. But that was the end of my spiel. I'm done with this. And I hope I'm done with this. Like, legit. For real. I don't have to talk about this anymore. I may put this all together in one video. But, like, yeah. I'm done with this. So, I'm over it. And I'm done. So I'll talk to you later. Until next one. Bye.